Hey guys, Tim and Lauren here from Couples Tech. Today we're taking a look at the Fitbit Versa 2. I'm going to be keeping mine, she's going to be returning hers, so we're going to go over those decisions and exactly why coming up.
So we both actually got these watches secondhand, kind of off of Macari. Tim ended up getting one, and then I ended up purchasing one as well.
So I really wasn't using my previous watch. I was using an Amazfit Stratus, and I came to the point where I just wanted to get a new one and something I'd probably use more. This has a lot more modern features. The main selling point on this one too was that it has the Amazon Alexa built in. So we basically moved to that exclusively in our apartment now, and I have an Echo Show, 2 Echo Dots, another one on the way. And definitely going forward, I think when we get a house, we're going to be doing the same thing, going with Amazon Alexa products.
It's really nice because with the push of a button, you can speak into your watch and control all your Alexa devices at home.
Yeah, and so there are times where basically we'd be on the couch if we'd be too far away from like the device on our kitchen there, would have a hard time hearing and shutting off the living room and things like that. So kind of being lazy, you can literally just hit this button here, and from the couch I can just speak into it and say like turn off the living room, and then it'll turn off. So that's pretty cool because it hooks up and just functions like you almost have an Echo Dot on your wrist.
Yeah, I've had no issues with any of the accuracy or anything with it. Every time I've used it, I've had success. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I've had some issues with it where basically it'll read, like I'll say set a reminder for 5 p.m. and then it'll buzz, and then it'll basically say sometimes underneath it failed to set reminder, like try again, and then I'll do it again and then it'll work. So that's the one frustrating thing, because you have to kind of look and watch. There have been a couple times where I've set a reminder and then like it didn't work and then it never went off. So it's kind of annoying because you'll feel it vibrate. This thing doesn't have like a speaker on it, so it won't say like reminder set or anything. I basically don't have full confidence in it that it's completely set that reminder now unless I look at it and see that it actually went through. So yeah, other than Alexa on here, I mean, there's a lot of other different modern updates and stuff too. You have like your Starbucks app on there where you can just use that for your Starbucks points and things. There's calculator apps you can download, other things like that. Weather is on there. You can set timers with like a stopwatch. You can set a countdown. So it has alarms on there as well. It has a smart wake function with that too, because it is a sleep tracker. It's supposed to basically wake you up during the best part of your sleep cycle, and it'll kind of take like a 30-minute gap between when you set that alarm, and if it analyzes that it'd be a better time to wake you up a little bit earlier, if you click that option on, it'll basically wake you up then.
So along with those apps, you also have other apps such as Pandora. You can also go into the Fitbit app itself and download various other apps that you want, such as the to-do list or various other timers or anything like that if you want. Fitbit Versa 2 also comes with the always-on display, which is a neat feature, so you can always see what time it is. That's kind of an upgrade, I believe, from their last watch.
Yeah, and you can turn that on or off too, so battery life-wise, it's going to go through it a little bit quicker if you have that on.
Definitely, yeah. And then in terms of the watch faces, there's a lot that you can go out and download. So there's various watch faces that are free. There's some that cost money. But I was impressed with kind of the amount that were free to go through and select what you like so that your screen can have whatever you desire to have on it.
One cool one that's a free one that just lets you basically put your own photograph as a background. Yeah. So I'm using that with a photo I took from a trip we did. And that's pretty cool and a neat, easy way to customize your watch as well.
I picked a watch face that has kind of my heart rate, my steps, floors climbed, also gives kind of a secondhand timer countdown as well, just because I like those type of features.
And at work, I have to use the stopwatch and the kind of countdown a good amount as well. So it's nice because it'll vibrate for that. You can, do the timer for if I'm doing some type of test and I need to track time. Basically, I can set that for by the minute. There's like minutes and seconds. So, I mean, you can go up in the minutes to where it looks like the max timer you can set is 99 minutes, but then there's no actual like hour function on that. And with that too, the other part I found kind of weird was you can't set like a few different kind of countdowns and timers. Before, like on my phone even, I can set like a 6-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute timer. With this, you got to just kind of reset it each time you open it up. So that to me was like a little drawback. It's nothing huge, but if that's something that you're going to really be using it for, that's something I definitely would have liked to know about.
One of the big drawbacks for me that I had a hard time with, so I had a Garmin Vivo Active, their first series watch that I'd been using for quite some time now. The biggest thing with that is, that's got an internal GPS, and I would use it for runs, could still track all of this very similar data. It did not track heart rate, so that was one reason I wanted to upgrade. But one thing I figured out is that, with that watch, I can go almost a week running probably 5, 6 times a week with it and only charge it once, approximately every 7 days. As soon as I got this watch, I noticed that I have to charge this roughly about every 3 days. Now, granted, that does depend on how many features you have on. Are you doing the always on display? How bright is your screen? All those do play a role in it. But that was one kind of drawback for me, was just the fact that the battery life went so much quicker.
I mean, the Garmin one she was using was definitely not as, modern and nice looking. It looked old. Nice. So, I mean, the display, it didn't have, the blacks and stuff that this display has as well. So
it's not as bright at all either.
Yeah, in the sunlight, this display is really nice. I would say, too, that I was probably getting about 3 days battery life as well. Using it always on display, not really using it real heavy for the running and stuff at this point, but using it more for kind of stopwatch functions, the alarms, all that kind of stuff.
So another neat feature of this watch is the ability to actually reply to text messages. So it's pretty neat because you can scroll down, see your notifications, read whatever the text message is, and then actually hit reply, and you can talk kind of right into your watch. You can look at it, make sure that what you said is actually what's written out before you hit send. So I thought that's really neat because if you see, that you said something and it didn't come up or pick up just right, you can undo it or you can redo it and before you hit send.
Yeah, and I don't think this has as much as like the Galaxy watches as far as like kind of media and like actual apps and stuff like that you can use. But compared to like both of what we were coming from with her Garmin one and then with my Amazfit Stratus, I would get like a notification on there and stuff like that, but I couldn't view tweets, I couldn't view text messages, any of that kind of stuff. So on here, all that pops up, your emails, you'll get the preview.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool because then even like a notification, say I get like a tweet, if you look at it on here, it'll give me the option where I can click it and do like open in phone, and it'll actually just pull that up on my phone to where then if I pick up my phone, it's got that tweet open for me. So it's pretty cool. So you do have the Spotify and Pandora, like we said, where you can, use those and log into your account. You can actually hook up a Bluetooth set of like earbuds to the watch, and then your watch will actually be the driver kind of, using those programs for music. So that's kind of cool, where you don't have to have your phone right nearby.
And then the other neat option too is that with the watch, you can actually download and keep some music on the watch itself. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, it just says on there, use the Fitbit desktop app to transfer music to your Fitbit device. So that'll just be right on board into the memory there.
So another feature with this watch is the ability to monitor your heart rate. Like all these watches, the accuracy is probably not 100% accurate, but it gives you a ballpark idea. So I thought that's pretty neat to just be able to kind of look at, during just some walks or during some runs, exactly where am I at roughly from a heart rate perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's what it uses a lot too for your sleep analysis. It kind of detects like when your heart rate drops low enough and it's sustained that you're sleeping, and that's kind of how it gets, that accuracy. There's also like a relax app, it's called, on here too, where you can do like a breathing session, kind of like a meditation thing, where there's a ring that moves kind of in and out and has you sync your breathing with it. So that's pretty neat. The other thing is this has Fitbit Pay, which you can set up, and you can set up a card there. If you have an enabled checkout device where you kind of see that it has like the NFC, then you could just tap your watch up close to it and then check out that way as well. And it's neat because that is key encrypted. Like you can type in a 4-digit passcode, and it gives you the option to do that for just the Fitbit Pay, or if you want, you can do that for all the time. And then basically when this comes off and that, it'll prompt you to actually type in that code every time. So let's get into running. So Lauren does a lot more running than I do. I think this is where our decisions on keeping this watch versus her getting rid of this watch comes in. So what do you have to say about that?
That was the hard part for me. I like all the other features with it, but when it came to the run tracking, I just was not very happy with how it was. It's cool because in the Fitbit app, after you're done with a run or walk or whatever exercise you want to do, you can, kind of go through, you can map for running, you can map your elevation, your distance, you can see the whole route. So having that ability is really neat, but the problem for me is every time I would do that, when I would actually zoom in on the route that I would run, the zigzag would be all over the place. I wouldn't be on the sidewalk. I'd be, in the middle of a yard or something like that. So the accuracy, that was the big issue with me. It wasn't very accurate. I did runs that I know would be, the exact mileage, and I ran them multiple times with this watch. And, out of 3 runs, I had 3 different mileages come up, and none of them were exactly close. The third was a lot closer than the other 2 had been, but that was my biggest thing.
Like Lauren said earlier, This does not have an internal GPS on the actual watch. Part of the reason why I think, it's priced as it is and stuff too compared to other watches, but you can get that GPS tracking, but you just have to bring your phone with you. So that's, theoretically how it's supposed to work.
Yeah.
If you essentially bring it, in your phone pocket, or you have a band that you're running with and you bring the phone, then it's going to supposedly track the GPS and everything in your route. How did you know, I guess, what were you going by thinking that other than getting inconsistent runs, from doing the same run, why did you think this wasn't as accurate, compared to other ones?
So like I said, I did compare it to the Garmin watch I'd had, but I also went on things such as like map my run and did the exact run just to make sure my mileage was correct in my head that I was thinking, and it was, and that was why I kind of got frustrated with the accuracy for this. So every other feature of the watch is great, but it's like for me it's not reliable enough to take out on a run. So I either would need to pick up a different watch, keep my Garmin watch, something else from my run perspective, because I don't like to look down and see that I did an 8-minute mile, but it's reading 11, and I didn't go as far as I really thought I did.
I don't know. We watched a few other reviews before we got these, and I didn't see people complaining about that. I'm not quite sure though how much extensively they actually tested it, but based on Lauren's feedback there, if you're definitely looking at this from more of a fitness watch perspective and that, maybe you'll have to see and look at some other options. I think from a daily perspective, just kind of the daily step tracking, using it for the other, media functions and stuff like that, as we talked about. That seems like that was, a good experience for both of us.
Yeah,
and
huge selling point, I think, with all those options.
Yeah, so, depending on what your use really is going to be primarily for this watch, you're going to have to probably take all that into account.
So overall, from a price perspective and just kind of all the features you're getting out of this watch, I definitely think it's a good watch.
Yeah, it's about $200, I think, brand new right now. We'll put a link down here below in the description. That'll be an affiliate link, so it helps us out if you purchase through there. We actually both picked ours up secondhand. We were on kind of used marketplace, and we both got ours about $100. So I thought that was pretty good for it just coming out in like September of 2019 now. So it's not too old, and if you're looking out for a good deal like that, you can probably pick it up for about 120 bucks, which I think is pretty good at that price.
So thanks for watching today, guys. Please hit that subscribe button for more tech content, and we'll see you on the next one.